Off Topic with Mike and JD. I'm JD.
And I'm Mike.
And welcome to our show. We missed last week, but let's be honest, you didn't notice.
Somebody out there noticed.
Yeah, I think it was us. I think we were the two people who noticed. But anyway, so we're back this week. And we're going to talk about video game movies. Like that epic voice I did.
Very much.
So if you're not living under a rock, and even if you're living under a rock, you probably still have heard the Mario Brothers movies voice cast has been announced. With big one, Chris Pratt as Mario, Charlie Day as Luigi, and Jack Black as Bowser, among others. And it's somewhat controversial.
Yeah.
People are not too happy about it in general.
Yeah, I mean, they're all pretty mainstream picks.
Here's my personal take on it. I don't want to say it doesn't matter who's voicing them, but that's not going to be what makes or breaks the movie. Like, it could be an amazing movie with Chris Pratt as Mario. It could be a terrible movie with Chris Pratt as Mario. It really comes. It's not going to come down to the voice acting. It's going to come down to the writing and how it like Chris Pratt is a good enough voice actor that he's not going to ruin this. Like, I mean, he did the Lego movie and he was great in that.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to ruin this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I personally loved him in the Lego movie. No, I think everybody involved is tremendously talented. I think the issue is more, at least for me, there's a mentality that's indicative in certain studios that's kind of just like, oh, throw all the hot names in a basket and like pull a bunch out and like they're the people who are voicing Angry Birds 3. And so, you know, I have nothing against, like, actually, I pretty much love every name on this list. Like, each one of these people are hilarious and talented. So that's not an issue. It's more just like, what does it say about the production thought process that these were the names that wound up on the desk?
I mean, to me, it says that it goes through the same basic production, everything movie goes through. I mean, you need the hot starts. And people are complaining that, oh, they didn't go the longtime Mario voice actor from the video games. What's his name? Like Charles Martinet or something like that?
Yeah, Charles Martinetti. Or Martinet. Yeah.
Okay, and see, which they did actually announce he is going to be doing some voices in the movie, just not Mario. But see, here's the thing. It's kind of foolish to think that he could actually do the movie. Forget about marketability. If you ever played the Mario games, you might notice he maybe has said like 2 full sentences in like all the games.
Yeah.
It's mostly just a word or a sound. Do you really think that voice works for what it is? That doesn't mean that voice is gonna carry over to actual dialogue, to an actual full movie. Like, it is not the same doing a woohoo and a whole big monologue. Those are two totally different skills. And I'm not undermining his talent. Like, he's perfect. Like, he does the voice for the games perfectly. But you gotta realize, it's just because it works in the video game does not mean it's gonna work in the film.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think they should have done that. I mean, as much as I absolutely love the classic Mario voice, you know, I think "thanks so much for playing my game" is the longest I can endure that sound. Like, you know, I would sometimes be playing a particularly difficult level of Mario Sunshine, and after like 3 hours of woohoo, yippee, wahoo, you just start to go insane. So I don't think they should do that.
Exactly. So I think my overall opinion on it is that I think the cast is fine. I want to see how they actually do in the movie.
How do you feel about them picking Chris Pratt as opposed to say anyone who's actually like Italian, I'm not saying like an actual actor or a voice actor who is like
it really doesn't matter because you know what, you could argue that Mario's Japanese, not Italian, like, and I'm someone who's a quarter Italian, and it's like does it really matter, that's just getting like too pedantic. Oh, he needs to be Italian. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Pratt's very talented. I'm sure he can do some sort of an accent. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll have to see the voice or hear the voice, right?
Yeah.
Like when I see Mario and a different voice comes out, if it's a small if my brain takes a second to adjust, I'm sure I'll adjust. But if it's just completely wrong, then it'll kill it.
Mm-hmm.
But it depends on the take, honestly. Like, it
Yeah.
really depends on, like, I'm thinking / hoping this will not be, like, just vanilla classic Mario from the video game. Like, with the Super Mario Brothers movie, which I won't get into because that's a whole nother thing.
Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit.
One of my whole things that is not a complaint about that movie is, John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins. I think they're great. I love them, and I think they're perfect for those roles. Because it's not the yippee wahoo Mario. It's the oh no, this is a Brooklyn Italian plumber from the real world, and he gets sucked into this Mushroom Kingdom. Like, everything else about that movie is bad, but like, if their version of Mario is something different, if they do go origin story or like more like realistic, I suppose, version of Mario, it might fit that version. Like they definitely didn't go with the voice actor for Sonic in the Sonic movie.
Yeah.
And that was fine.
And Sonic says a lot more dialogue too.
Yeah, exactly.
But so now to segue though, let's talk a little bit about the infamous Mario Brothers film. One, I just want to throw this fun fact out there because I just find this hilarious. That the first choice was actually to cast as Mario was actually Tom Hanks. But the studio said no, you have to cast Bob Hoskins because he's a more bankable star. I just find that hilarious. But,
that is pretty funny.
But really, I don't think you could... Bob Hoskins was absolutely perfect as Mario. Which goes to and goes to show that the casting isn't the most important thing, because I do not think they could have cast a better Mario than Bob Hoskins. At the time, he was definitely the best actor to play the role.
Yeah, 100%.
Role. And the movie is absolutely terrible. Not at all Bob Hoskins' fault. He's done the best he could do if he worked. And a well-written movie, he would be perfect for Mario. But see, that's the problem. Was the writing? Like I said, you had you could. John Leguizamo as Luigi, I'm indifferent to be honest. But I would say Bob Hoskins was the absolute perfect Mario casting, 100%. And it's just the fact that everything else about that movie was terrible. I mean, it was like it's not easy to adapt to Mario, but it's hard to be that bad at. I would expect a regular bad movie for the adaptation, not wow, you tried to make it bad with this.
Right. It seems like something you would see in like a College Humor parody of it's Mario, but the Mushroom Kingdom is like this dark dystopian wasteland, and there's guns, and you're just have you ever played a single Mario game? It seems more like a parody.
Yeah, it really does. But I mean, to be fair, Mario is a hard game to adapt. I don't know what this anime movie to do. They had a hard challenge, but
yeah,
they just failed so much more than I thought they would.
I think the key, I mean, you can do a lot of different things. Like, I'm not averse to, like, a serious Mario movie. I mean, it would be different. I wouldn't be the direction I would go, but you could do it. I think you just got to lean more into the fantasy aspect of the Mushroom Kingdom. Like, you're going... Essentially, it's like, in the anime world, it's an isekai. You're like a regular plumber, you know, blue-collar worker, and you get sucked into a magical realm. Like... That's pretty much just a story, like, by itself. So,
yeah, that's true.
You know, I think they, you know, should lean into the fantasy more with this.
Definitely.
I am curious to get your opinion on one thing in regard to the movie. So, with this upcoming animated movie, one thing I find interesting is we already know that Seth Rogen is voicing Donkey Kong, and Fred Armisen?
Yeah.
I think that's how you say the name?
Yeah, that's how you say
is voicing Cranky Kong. So, like, how do you feel that this might be not just like a Mario movie, but like a Nintendo franchise crossover movie? Like, I don't know, I thought it was interesting that I mean, yes, granted, you could argue Donkey Kong is the original Jumpman. Like, you could argue that was the first appearance of Mario. But it just seems weird that, like, those characters are even in this movie.
Well, yeah, it's obvious. It's 100% obvious that they're hoping that this is successful and the next one is going to be a Donkey Kong movie. Like, let's just say, like, it's 100% obvious that's what they're trying to do. And
are we finally building the Smash Brothers cinematic universe?
It really depends just how you do it, in my opinion, because, like, you know, here's the two perfect examples of doing it right and doing it wrong. Marvel Civil War. Captain America, Civil War. Okay, Spider-Man there. You know, on one hand he's kind of just there, but like, you know what, it makes sense. It was a good way to reintroduce us to the character. I felt that, so if it's something like that with Donkey Kong, great. However, on the other hand, I would, in my opinion, Batman vs. Superman, Wonder Woman was just there for absolutely no reason other than to set up her character. That I found she was very shoehorned in there. And so, putting Donkey Kong in this movie could have that effect. It's a hard balance, but like I say, if they manage to make his appearance feel organic in the movie, I am fine with them already laying the groundwork for a sequel. It just has to feel organic. It can't feel like, oh no, you're just clearly trying to already set up a sequel.
Yeah, it's just strange to me because I feel like most movies at least try and be their own thing. In the first movie, just their own thing.
Not anymore. Like, that's kind of how the film industry is changing nowadays. Everybody wants to... See, that was kind of a negative effect of the MCU's dominance, is that now every studio wants their own MCU. Every studio is trying to set up this elaborate cinematic universe, and really, they all kind of failed. Like, how many times has Universal tried to set up their monster universe? Like, oh, Dracula's gonna be the first one. No, just kidding. The Mummy's gonna be the first. Like, they kept trying to set it up, and they just kept failing and failing and failing.
But I think what the studios keep missing is that the first Iron Man's a good movie.
Well, yes.
Like, full stop. It's not like Iron Man, like, swings by and it's like, oh, hey, look, yeah, that's, like, Captain America. Like, I hope he shows up later. Like, and then, you know, I don't know, the Hulk's, like, climbing in for a scene. Like, that doesn't happen. It's just, Iron Man's just a good movie that stands on its own. The only, like, teaser is the post-credit scene.
Nick Fury.
And also, I guess, Rhodey saying, like, oh, next time. But, like, that felt more like a setup for the sequel of Iron Man.
Well, yeah,
and it definitely. Just happened to keep building on itself. Like, the Dark Universe is just like, oh, here's all the Universal monsters. Like, they didn't just make a good movie and then go from there.
No, they couldn't make a good movie. Like, they kept making bad movies after bad movies.
Exactly. So, honestly, I think it's the same problem with, like, the DC Extended Universe is, you know, at least they had the smarts to start with, here's just a Superman movie. Like, Batman and Wonder Woman, The Flash. Nobody showed up in Man of Steel. It was
And then it went all downhill from there.
So I don't know. I wish that like they would say this is a Mario movie, and then maybe like Donkey Kong shows up in the after credits or something. But
yeah, well, we'll see.
I don't want like Pikachu in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what would you say is the best video game adapted movie?
If we're talking direct adaptation of the source material.
No, it doesn't have to be necessarily be direct. Do you want me to go first? Because I already know exactly what I'm going to say.
Okay, sure.
Detective Pikachu.
Okay.
Because
I can see the argument.
But first of all, they did a smart decision of doing that story instead of the main Pokemon story. And they completely avoided the whole, what would be controversial, hey, it's basically an animal fighting ring. They were smart. They found a way to do Pokemon and yet avoid that. That was, to begin with, genius. I love how they did the Pokemon. They went with like this in-between cartoonish, somewhat live action. I liked how they looked. I really thought it was a great look for the Pokemon. And I mean, of course, Ryan Reynolds is funny. Was it a perfect movie? Absolutely not. The big plot twist, which I'm not going to reveal in case there's anybody who hasn't seen it and still plans on, I saw coming like in the first scene. The big plot, like, it is not a perfect movie, but it is a good movie. And like I said, they used the baseline of the game to do their own story, which is smart, but they didn't go like just in a complete direction and just take the name Pokemon. It was still, in its essence, Pokemon.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said, basically. I mean, see, it's funny that you say that because, like, I totally understand why they did it. But I was one of those people who's like, oh man, like, I wish I could have seen, like, Red, like, the young boy, like, starting his Pokemon journey. Like, as someone nostalgic, like, I mean, I've never played the Detective Pikachu novel.
Oh, me neither.
Or, a visual novel game, whatever it is.
Me neither.
I've heard it's quite good, but I've never played it. So as someone who's nostalgic for the original Pokemon Red and Blue, I'm like, that's the story I wanted to see in live action. And, I totally get that there's difficulty adapting that. So I think it's, like you said, it's a tough balance between how much do you stay faithful to what made this series great and, like, the things that people expect to see from this movie, which the original, that's where the original Mario movie failed, is I waited the whole movie and I got a Babam was the only recognizable thing in that entire movie. Was that little tiny Babam was the only Mario thing I recognized. Everything else completely unrecognizable.
Yeah.
And, versus, like, you don't want to go too much just parodying the games. I mean, my personal favorite video game movie is the original Mortal Kombat film. It's not a good movie, but it knows what it is, and it's just unashamed of it, and it's just like, here's Mortal Kombat happening. And it has a great soundtrack, and it's people fighting, and, like, they don't try and overcomplicate it. It's just Mortal Kombat. And you could say it's not that great, but, like, it is Mortal Kombat. And you could see a still frame of it and be like, yep, that's Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
I haven't seen Sonic, so I can't comment.
I haven't seen it either. I really wanted to see it. I was just busy that month, that of obviously pandemic. Then I just never bothered paying for it on demand.
But I guess it depends on, like, the interesting thing about that is they didn't adapt any of the Sonic games.
Which I think is a smart idea. You take the characters, you put them in a new setting.
Yeah. Although I will admit, I'm kind of sick of this whole, like, oh, now they're brought into the real world kind of Smurfs plot. But
you know what? That was actually already a Sonic thing. Like, they did it in the show Sonic X. So like, that wasn't, like, a new thing for Sonic.
Okay, fair enough. But I don't want to see, like, oh, Mario gets sucked into, like, or the Mushroom Kingdom gets sucked into, like, Manhattan. And then, like, Princess Peach is confused about what an espresso is.
See, like, the one thing that worked about the movie, one of the few things besides Bob Hoskins that worked about the Mario Bros. Movie, I like the idea that, okay, he's from the real world. Mushroom Kingdom is an alternate universe. I
like that too.
I'm fine with them doing that concept. It would be weird though if Mario, they do the opposite. Oh, Mario's from this alternate universe, bring him to the real world. That makes no sense. I'm not saying they have to do it, but I would be absolutely fine if they do that. Oh, he's from the real world, now he's transported to Mushroom Kingdom. That definitely
exactly.
could work.
Like if you play Mario Odyssey, it's unsettling when it's like, here's like a normal human and here's Mario like standing next to them. It's like, it's uncomfortable. I don't like it.
Oh, it works in the game though because like it's one level.
Yeah, but I don't want a whole movie of that.
No, I don't want that in a movie either. That's the thing. Things that work in the game don't always work in movies, and that's what a lot of people don't realize.
It's true, but I think what Marvel does really well, and I don't know how much this is possible with video games. I feel like Marvel is really good at distilling the essence of a character. Like, from for instance, take the most recent like Shang-Chi. Like, in the comic books, Shang-Chi is like this like James Bond-esque like traveling around the world, martial arts secret agent kind of guy, and like in the movie he's like a totally different character. Mm-hmm. But they realized like, all right, these are the essential elements that make Shang-Chi awesome, and we'll keep those and we'll ditch everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like here's a game that I'm conflicted on if they should ever make a movie on. The Mass Effect trilogy. I recently started replaying the Legendary Edition, one of my favorite video game series of all time. But see, the hardest thing about adapting that would be for those of you who don't know, the whole game is based on you make the character, you choose the gender, you make all the decisions. So it's kind of hard to do a movie for it because, like, it doesn't have a canon story. It has multiple options. And originally, my original idea was that they should do it anyway. The more I think about it, I think I want a live-action movie set in that universe because they have great lore, science fiction lore. Like, these very interesting alien species. Make a live-action movie in that universe, but like a completely different story, so that you don't have to worry about. Oh well, we have to decide which is the canon storyline.
Right, exactly. Like, you could refer to Commander Shepard. I was literally about to say that exact same thing of, like, I think just, in that case, set it in the universe, but don't necessarily star the main character. Because you could even have the side characters.
Yeah,
I guess
definitive personality. The side they can change a bit based on your action, but you know what? They have definitive personalities, unlike Shepard, whose personality is 100% based on the player's decision.
Exactly. So, I mean, honestly, that's the same reason that it's tough to, like, if you ever want to do, like, Knights of the Republic story, would you make Revan specifically, like, canon, like, male, female, evil, or good, it's tough.
And, I mean, again, there's also a great idea, I think, would be a prequel, a supporting character, Captain Anderson. They talk a bit about his backstory. I would like to see, that could make a good live-action movie, because again, that's something that is already has. You don't have to worry about the decisions choosing a canon, because But what's also good about it is some of it has been revealed, but it's also open-ended enough that you have creative freedom to write your own thing. So I think that would be a great thing to do too.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly though, I don't think they necessarily would do this, but I'd be fine if they were just like, whatever, this is like our interpretation, and like, they just pick a characterization for Shepard.
I mean, I wouldn't complain about that either. I just really want to see how they do how the aliens are gonna look in live action. I've seen great cosplays of them, but I want to see them in film.
One thing that I would love. And they would never do this. But one thing I would love, while we're on a tangent here, is if they filmed, Clue style, 2 versions of the movie with, like, either different, a couple of different subtle changes, or even, like, different gender swaps, and and they just, it's all like the same general movie, but just like those differences, and then you just randomly air the different versions, so you never know which one you're gonna get.
Well, you know, okay, this is a tangent, but I saw this online once, and like someone was like, I want to become a great author one day, and then for my final book in the series, release 4 different endings, and don't tell anybody about it, and then sometime later come out about all 5 endings, and just wait for people to go crazy about where's the 5th ending.
That would be amazing.
But yeah. So we talked about video game movies, but here's another thing. What about movies that aren't directly adapted of video games, but are about video games? Like, one of my just personal favorite movies in general, Wreck-It Ralph. Absolutely.
I love that movie so much.
And see, they did eventually make the game Pixie Felix, but that was after the movie already came out. They made that game, but
yeah.
it was just so perfect, and I love how they did the cameos from the existing video game characters. That was cute, like having that Bowser in that one scene, and like, I think they did a great job of adapting. Oh, here's like, this felt like if you ever played a game, it feels like a classic arcade game. Like, they did a great adaptation of a game, but see, it was also important to do an original character, because it would have felt weird. Like, say it was Bowser, like, wait, what? Bowser's not really a bad guy? That doesn't feel right.
Yeah, exactly. You have a lot more freedom with original characters.
Exactly.
Which is, I think, one of the difficulty of, like, any sort of adaptation is, like, you're sort of hamstrung a little bit.
And then another video game inspired movie I love, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Have you ever seen?
That is another one of my absolute favorites. Although that one is based a little, that the video game references are in the original graphic novel, so that's cheating a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but
it's an adaptation of a visual novel that has video game references in it. But yeah, that movie is just phenomenal. It's just perfect. I
just love how, like, they don't even explain the video game references. Like, he just kills the guy and he explodes into money. Nobody question it, and he just like, dang, I didn't even get enough for a bus fare. Like, I love how nobody questions it or anything.
Yeah, that's probably, like, one of my favorite parts is that, like, they don't even acknowledge the video game aspects of the, him having, like, an extra life and all that stuff. Like, there's just a casual, like, subspace superhighway through people's minds.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like, yeah, whatever, like, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he got a power up. Okay.
Exactly. So that's a lot of fun, and I think that's like a really fun way to do that like genre.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like some of the, like I quite like the movie, say Free Guy, for example.
Oh, love that movie. Great film.
Very fun movie. But I think one of the dangers of like having like a video game-esque movie is like you have to be a real lover of video games to like write those kind of movies.
That's true.
I do feel like a lot of media does like a video game episode, or like, oh, this takes place in a video game, or you see a character playing a video game, and it's just like, if you've ever played a video game, you're like, this doesn't make any sense, or like that's not how video games work, or you're just like throwing in random references to like pander to a video game audience. But like Pixels is a great example of like, I don't know if they've ever played a video game. They just were like, well, we have a bunch of IP, just like throw it in there. But like, I don't know what makes any of these characters work.
But back to Free Guy, one of my few disappointments with the movie was that there was no, like, they didn't do any, like, glitch gags where like his arm just goes through a wall or something. Like, that could have been a hilarious visual gag if they did like some, even the best design games have their glitches. That would have made a hilarious visual gag if if there was some sort of glitch at one point where like, why is my arm going through the wall? But yeah. So, I think we covered a lot here. Do you have any other remarks about video game movies?
No, I mean, I am actually, like, I'm excited for this movie, even as somebody who's, like, I don't really care about this movie, personally. Like, I mean, I'm gonna go see it, but I'm not, like, dying for a Mario movie. But I really hope it does well because I want video game movies. I've been waiting my whole life for a Zelda movie. Or
Oh,
a
I forgot.
Metroid
Actually,
movie.
I did want to mention a Zelda movie. How have we not gotten that yet? Like, seriously.
I am so mad we were this close to getting a Netflix series and then they shut it all down. I
just don't get how we haven't gotten that yet. Like, everybody's looking for the next Game of Thrones type thing. And I mean, obviously, it won't be as R-rated as Game of Thrones, but a Zelda series could be the next big fantasy show. Like,
yeah, it's such a slam dunk, and like Link is one of the few Nintendo characters that, like, yes, he doesn't speak, but he has a defined personality, a defined look. Like, there's a amazing treasure trove of stories and timelines and things you could draw from. Like, I don't understand how we haven't gotten a Zelda movie. I think it's just because Nintendo is so precious with their IP. They were burned with the Super Mario movie, and they're like, never again. And so I hope this movie crushes. I hope it, like, makes stupid amounts of money so that we can get these other adaptations. Because if Castlevania showed us anything, it's that you can do, like, incredible adaptations of video games. Like, you just gotta have the right team. And I mean, did you ever see the Castlevania series?
No, but I never played the game, so.
Well, it's a phenomenal. Even as somebody who doesn't really play the games, like, it was a phenomenal series. But the creator of that said he wanted to make a Metroid movie.
Ooh, I would love it. Metroid 1 is another one that would be great.
Yeah, Nintendo was just like, sorry, not interested. And I'm
you know what? I'm thinking of strong female video game characters. The latest Lara Croft movie Tomb Raider movie wasn't that bad. It wasn't amazing, but it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I had fun with it, but, you know,
I like Alicia. I'm not even good. Bakanda. I'm sorry, I'm not going to pronounce his names. But whatever her name is, I like her. She's a great actress.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I mean, I just want the video game movie that does what Iron Man did for comic books. Like, I just want one video game movie. Like, there have been decent video game movies. Like, people joke because, like, all video game movies are bad. There's been okay video game movies. Like,
but there hasn't been that defining one yet.
Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
But we still haven't had that defining one that, like, oh, this is the big genre yet.
Exactly. Like, Warcraft was fine. Like, there's a lot of ones that are, like, fine. But I'm like, I want one that's, like, it kicks down the door where people who don't like video games, like, so many people who are like, I've never read a comic a day in my life, but I love the MCU.
Yeah,
that's what I want. I want this Mario movie to be like, I've never played a video game ever in my life, and I love this franchise.
I don't think this is gonna be the movie that does that for try. I think it could be a good movie. I don't see it being the movie that, like, oh, the Iron Man. Like, if they ever make a Zelda movie, I could see that being the Iron Man for video game movies. If they make a Metroid movie, that could be the Iron Man. I just don't think this Mario movie. I think it could be a success. I don't think it's gonna be like Iron Man level of success.
I think it will be a monetary success, but I also think this movie will be aimed at children.
To a degree.
Like, I think there'll be, like, maybe some, like, adult jokes, but I'm really expecting, and maybe I'm being biased, but I'm really expecting, at best, Despicable Me.
But you know what? Like, the first Despicable Me was okay. It was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't mean that as a diss. I mean that as in terms of, like, that is the level of maturity that I'm thinking Illumination is aiming for. Like,
as long as
there'll be some.
Don't aim for Minions level, please. Like, come on, aim higher than that.
I hope they do, because, like I said, I mean, I think between it being animated and it being this particular studio, it is going to be a children's film. And, like, I'm fine with that. Hopefully it's a good children's film, like you said. Hopefully more Despicable Me, less Minions. But I think to get that real breakout movie, I think we need a live action adaptation.
I like Metroid, Legend of Zelda, they can be that breakout.
Yeah, like I'm not really like interested in a CGI Metroid movie. I mean, yes, I would see it, but like I feel like we have that. It's video games.
No, live action. I mean, I would love to see a live action Samus.
That would be so good.
The biggest thing is though, one hard thing about adapted video games, a lot of the characters' faces are covered, which then you can't portray the motion. So would you keep her in a Zero suit for the film, just so you see her face, character can emote? Maybe have her take her helmet off in non-action scenes. That's something you have to think about.
I would say make it more like Gravity, where like we see like like she's wearing a spacesuit, but like we see like her face and like her panting.
Okay,
and,
so you redesigned the helmet so that it doesn't like black out her face, but that is like a you could clearly see her face through it. That works.
Yeah, that just would be how I would take it. But I mean,
that definitely works.
And you could have her like sometimes in the Zero suit to like but I mean also I think with like Pedro Pascal and the Mandalorian, I think people are warming up to the idea more of just like, hey, Judge Dredd never shows his face and like that's okay. But yeah, get on that Zelda movie, somebody.
How have you not done that yet?
Like just take all my money, just a Lord of the Rings, but like Nintendo.
Yeah,
that's what we need.
So, okay, now that we covered that, I think now we've really covered everything we wanted to cover.
Yeah.
So, this has been the Off Topic Podcast. I'm pretty sure my name is JD, but you might want to double check that.
And I'm pretty sure your name is JD too. And I'm Mike also.
Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.